Okay, well, this is Wisdom Agorom, and this is the demo marathon for the Guinness World Record attempt at the longest speech marathon by an individual. So I want to say very welcome to you, and I want to say thank you for being part of this live stream. So we're supposed to do this practice, and thank you for being there. All right, so let me just put this up a little bit so you don't get a miss my head. Okay. Okay, just give me a moment and put this together. Okay, just one more minute. Okay, okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright, welcome everyone once again. My name is Wisdom Agorom. So we're going to be looking at the 10 commandments to human relation. 10 commandments to human relation. So commandment number now let me give you a little background, right? Human relation is an important aspect of our lives as human beings, and because you whenever you look to your left or you look to your right, you always find people, right? And Frank D. Roosevelt's once said that he would pay anything, this is me paraphrasing right now, that he would pay anything so as to learn how to manage people, to learn how to walk around with people, because people are literally everything that you really desire. If you want anything to work out smooth, if you want to run a vision, an idea, a concept, whatever thing that you feel that you need people to run it, right? So for all of what we're doing right now, this is purely a situation where we have people putting things together, and we're really excited and how far we've come. So we're going to look at the 10 commandments of people management and human relation. Number one, speak to people. Number one, speak to people. Refuse to put your mood off, right? Refuse to be the one that no one wants to speak to because you don't like speaking to people, right? Make a conscious, deliberate effort that every single day of your life is a day you finish, you start with a task completed. Make a conscious, deliberate effort that every single day is a day you start with a task completed, and that is speaking to people. Wherever you are, whatever role you play, whether you're a leader, a follower, a boss, or a master, regardless of wherever you are, make a conscious, deliberate effort to speak to people. You must find a way to you must find a way to communicate, regardless of how whatever is going on. You must find a way to communicate, because communication is actually the only way you can put your ideas from you out there, right? So you can send it out right now. So number two, smile at people. Smile at people. Number one commandment is what? Speak to people. Number two, smile at people. Now, someone once said that a smile is the curve that makes all lines straight. Think about that. A smile is a curve that makes all lines straight. Now think about it for a moment and you realize that there is no level of anger that someone would have and you smile at them that they will not respond to your smile. A smile is clearly contagious. A smile is clearly contagious, and a smile is something that everyone is willing to respond to with another with a smile, right? So this is what I'll say to you: start every day again with a task completed. Smile at people, and then you don't know how much of goodness you spread out to the rest of the world when you smile. Put a smile on that face. You don't know how beautiful you will look when you put a smile on that face. You don't know how interesting and how receptive you'll be in the eyes of men and the eyes of people when you actually put a smile on your face. You have no idea, right? And I know without a doubt that you have a very beautiful smile. You actually do have a very beautiful smile, and you don't know how much of that beautiful smile you are rubbing the world off, not putting a smile on your face. So at every single point in time is an opportunity for you to put a smile on your face, right? Number three, call people by their names. Everyone loves their name, right? And when you make a conscious, deliberate effort to remember people's name and then you call them by their names, it's actually one of the most appealing things to the ears of anyone is the sound of their name. Yes, one of the most appealing things to anyone is the sound of their names. People love their name so much. I love my name. I know you love your name too. So imagine someone being able to remember your name and call you by your name at every single instance where you actually do a meetup, right? Imagine that. So people love to hear their names. So make a conscious, deliberate effort to remember people's name and call them by their name. Now I want to share a line, a particular part from a movie I watched. Now this guy is a king, actually not a king or a prime minister or something like that. So because he has a proper remembering people's name and he has an understanding that he has to remember people's name because he meets a lot of people in a single day. So there was this particular event he attended. It was a dinner party. And before the whole dinner table sitting was up, everyone was just chit chatting around. And then he had these technical guys who would actually have like cameras around him. And then he had this wireless earpiece in his ear. So before anyone walks up to him, the technical guys will actually tell him via the earpiece that his name is this. Let's, for example, his name is Charles. His wife's name is Sarah. He has a daughter, and the daughter's name is, let's say, Karen. And then he shakes the person's hand. He goes like, "Hello, Mr. Charles." And then Mr. Charles will feel very important that the Prime Minister remembers my name. You see, you may not have all of the gadgets and all of the expense to put all of that together. But one thing I know that you have is a mind. So if you put your mind to it and say you're going to remember people's name, you actually would, right? So I have a little challenge remembering people's name. But what I do is I have techniques I've put together that will help me remember people's name, right? So one thing I do is when someone tells me their name, I call it out 3 times. Like for example, if you told me your name were to be Victor, I'll call you Victor, 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 Victor. It sounds crazy, but I'm trying to call your name into my memory whilst looking at your face. So I'm trying to place a picture of you in my head whilst repeating your name. Do you get that? So that's one thing I do. And then the other thing I do is when someone tells me their name, and probably I've heard that name somewhere, I know someone who also bears that name. What I do is I now put this person's picture by the side. This is a mental exercise. By the side of that person's picture, and I put the both of them as the same name bearers. So whenever I want to remember you, I remember him. When I remember the name, then I call the name. It's a mental trick I do. So I do a lot of time. And the third thing I usually do is whenever I cannot actually remember someone's name, despite all the effort and techniques I put together, I reach out to someone else who I believe knows this person's name. And then I get to know your name before I reach out to you. Because I understand as well that people love their names. People want to hear their names. So when you understand that, you will actually call people by their names. You got that? So number 4, be friendly and helpful. Fourth commandment of people management. Number 1, we said you should what? Speak to people. Don't put your mouth off. Number 2, smile at people. You have a very great smile on you. You don't want to deny the world of that great smile that you have. And number 3, call people by their name. Number 4, be friendly and what? Helpful. At every single point in time, ensure you show a lot of helpfulness to what people are about, because literally we live in a very difficult society where economically, globally, not just in your country, globally, the economic situations and people are going through a lot, right? So as much as you can, you don't have to be the richest man in the world. Either you have to be the richest man anywhere or the richest woman wherever for you to find a way to be a blessing or helping out to someone else in the little ways you can, right? In so as you gain more grounds in your human relation journey, you should ensure that you actually find a way to help out with people, regardless of what is happening, regardless of how busy it gets or how difficult your own life is. You should always make out time, resources, energy towards helping out with people. Number 5, be cordial to people. Being cordial simply means showing respect to people, regardless of what is happening. Everyone at every level desires some. Everyone at every level desires and requires some level of respect, right? And then another thing that I want you to also remember is that the respect you give out is most likely the respect you get back. Yes. Whatever respect you give is the respect you most likely get. So, regardless of whatever is happening, focus on the fact that you owe everyone to be true. You owe everyone respect at whatsoever level they're existing in your life or in any other sphere. Probably you work together in an organization, so you owe everyone respect. Be cordial to people, right? Regardless of their level, regardless of their job title, regardless of their bank balance. Be cordial to people. Number 6, show genuine interest. Now, showing genuine interest in recent times has become very difficult because the question, how are you, which is supposed to be a provoker of interest, is now turned into a salutation. Be like, hello, good morning, how are you? I'm fine, and you too, I'm good. It's turned into a salutation, right? So do not think that because you ask someone, how are you, and they responded fine, that they are actually fine. Yes. Do not think that when you ask someone, how are you, and they responded fine, means that they are fine. Because, how are you, I'm fine. Oh, how is the day going? Good. All those have turned into salutations. To really show genuine interest in people, you must move from how are you to, are you sure you're okay? What's up with you? Is everything okay at home? How's your spouse? How's your parents? How's your child? Yes, move beyond how are you. Because how are you doesn't actually give you the cut of the interest that you really want to show in the person. Genuine interest. Be genuinely interested in people. Number 7, show praise people. Number 7, praise people. Right? And then this is what I usually tell people when I have opportunities. When do I tell um, business owners when I have an opportunity to sit at a meet with them? I usually tell them this. I tell them this. I say the same effort you use to criticize a staff or someone who works with you, use that same energy to praise them when they actually do something right. Same energy, same energy, same energy. And this is my this is my submission to you, right? The same energy you use to tell someone how wrong they've gone, use that same energy to tell them how right they've come. And then the philosophy I work with is chastise me in private, praise me in public. That's it. It works every single time. It works every single time. Right? So praise people. People put a lot of effort in the work that they do, right? And then you just have to realize that people desire a sense of appreciation. You don't know how much people are dying and starving from just that singular word of appreciation from you, that singular word of praise for the work that they've put in, for the effort that they've put in your work, in your business, in any other thing that you run, right? Make make it like a tax, right? Something you should do, that whenever someone does something good, you actually openly celebrate that effort. Because if you really don't openly celebrate that effort, you actually would not get to see it again, right? So number 1 we said was speak to people. Number 2, we're looking at the 10 commandments of human relation. Number 1 we say speak to people. Number 2, smile at people. Number 3, call people by their names. I love to be called by my name. I know you love to be called by your name. So call people by their names. Number 4, be friendly and helpful. Number 5, be cordial to people. Show respect. And then remember, respect is also what? Reciprocal. Get that part. Number 6, show genuine interest in people. Move beyond how are you. Right? Move beyond how are you. Number 7, praise people. And number 8, consider feelings. Right? Number 8, consider feelings. We as humans, regardless of how rational we tend to appear, right? We as humans are more emotional, right, than rational. As much as we tend to appear rational, we as humans we're more emotional than rational. As a as an entrepreneur that I am, I've been able to come up with different marketing strategies And usually the strategies we actually work on are the ones that touches the emotions of the customer. We have to touch your emotions to get you to buy, because we discovered that people, first of all, would get an emotional connection. People buy because of emotions and justify with logic. That's the phrase. People buy with what? Emotions and justify with logic. You get the point. So you want to be able to touch the emotions of people if you want to have them to have great relationship and great relationship with you, right? In your human relationship, right? Did you get that? So ensure you what? Consider people's feelings. There are certain words that you cannot use if you actually consider the feelings of people. Yes, there are certain words you cannot, you should not, and you would not use if you have an understanding of the fact that people's feelings count. People feelings count. The feelings of people counts, right? Understand that, right? That will actually save you a lot. When people that you're not considering my feelings. When someone ever says that to you, it shows that you've gone to an extreme. You get the point. It shows that you've gone to an extreme, and that is not good at all. That is not good practice, right? So the next thing you want to look out for is number 9. Listen to people's opinion. The greatest leaders I've ever known are leaders who walk into the room and walk around the room asking everyone's opinion about an idea, a concept, an issue before finally stating their own opinion. You are not a great leader if you walk into a room and then you say your own opinion first before you listen to the opinions of others. And I'll tell you why. Probably you've done it time and time again and you're wondering how is that wrong. I'll tell you why. There are people who, whilst they came into the room, they had their own ideas that differ from yours. But because you're the boss and you have spoken about your own idea, they would actually hold back and not mention theirs. Now, the idea that they have may not be against the ideas that you have, but they may be looking at the concept or the situation at hand from a different perspective, right? That would actually help in the long run in the execution of that project, if you understand what I'm saying. So, giving them an opportunity to be heard actually makes them feel like they are part. Listening to people's opinion is the best thing you can do for them, because whilst they have the reason they have an opinion, listen, the reason they have an opinion is because they spend time, energy processing that information in their head before they can have an opinion. So whenever people have an opinion and you don't listen to them you've wasted their energy, you wasted their time. And no one wants their time and energy to be wasted, because someone's time is their life, someone's energy is their value. So think about it. Whenever someone has an opinion, do well to listen to it. Finally, number 10. Always be alert to serve. Always be alert to serve. In your human relation journey, being ready to serve is the best thing that you can do in your human relationship, in your human relation journey. Being ready to serve, is like the bedrock, basically, of your human relation journey, because service is the easiest way you can get to anyone's heart, right? When you are ready to serve, literally, this is where I look at it, right? When it comes to human relation, I feel everyone is always given an opportunity to serve in one capacity or the other. And what you do when that happens is literally what matters after all. Like after all of that has gone, after all has transpired. Because everyone has an opportunity to serve, right? And it's important you are allowed to serve people. Whether you're a leader, and you don't actually have to be a leader to serve, really. You can serve in any capacity at any day, at any time, right? So first off, we looked at the 10 commandments in human relation. And then we looked at the first part, which is speak. Number one, which is speak to people. Number two, we looked at smile at people. Put that smile on your face, right? And then let me also throw this in so you actually have an understanding. I'm kind of wrapping up so we can jump into some of that discussion. The first discussion we had today is the 10 commandments in human relation. Let me just do a rundown, a concluding statement, and we'll be done, right? So we get into another speech whilst we're still on the speech marathon demo, right? So today we'll be looking at the 10 commandments of human relation. Number one, we said speak to people. Make it a conscious, deliberate effort to always speak to people, regardless of what is happening. And I was always say, regardless of where the wind is blowing from, and regardless of when the sun comes up in the sky, make it a conscious, deliberate effort to speak to people. Don't always put your mood off, whether you're a leader or not. Never put your mood off. If you want to succeed in your human relationship journey, you must make a conscious, deliberate effort to always want to speak to people. You don't have to be an excellent communicator to speak to people. You just need to be concerned, right? And willing to learn. That's all you need. You just need to be concerned in people and be willing to communicate. You don't have to always have the right words, but you have to have the right heart. Number two, smile at people. Smile at people. There's a research that was done about call center representatives, and for a particular week, all the call center representatives were told not to smile whilst they're taking calls. Don't smile. Keep a very serious look on while taking calls. And all through that week, there was several reports of people who answered who were on the other side of the phone, who got very angry. And then in the other week, they were told, smile at every single call you take. So whilst you're having conversations on the phone with the person, put a very wide smile on your face. And everything changed. So even without physical contact, verbal contact, your smile can be perceived. That's how powerful smile is. And it has been proven with research that you actually use a lot of more nerves when you want to frown, and then you use less nerves when you are muscles when you actually smile. So please put a smile on your face. I know without a doubt that you have a very beautiful smile. So put your smile on that face and share that amazing smile to the rest of the world, and you'll be amazed at how much of goodness you'll be sharing with just that smile on your face. Number three, we looked at calling people by name. Everyone wants to hear their name being called. I do, you do. So imagine everyone wants to as well. So call people by their names. Number four, be friendly and be helpful. You don't have to have everything to be helpful. So in your human relationship journey, you must find a way to be helpful to one person at a time, right? Number five, be cordial to people. Being cordial simply means being respectful. Being respectful, right? Number six, we said show genuine interest in people. Asking someone how are you is no longer a proof of genuine interest. Yes, asking someone how are you is no longer a proof of genuine interest, because how are you has now turned into salutation. Unfortunately, how are you has turned into what? A salutation. Where people go, hello, good morning, how are you, I'm fine, and that's it. But really, when you want to show genuine interest in people, you should ask questions like, hope everything is fine back at home. How is your spouse? How is your mom? Are they really doing okay? Are you really fine? You get, ask such questions, because those questions will show your genuine interest in people, right? And then number seven, it says praise people. And my summation is the same energy you use to criticize, use that same energy to praise. That's it. That's my summation right there. The same energy for criticism is the same energy you should use to praise people, right? So make the praises loud and make the criticism silent. You have a lot to gain when you do that, right? But the easiest thing to do is to shout out the criticism. Don't be that person, right? Number 8, consider feelings. Humans are very emotional, right? Whether in the workplace, at school, wherever you find yourself, consider the feelings of people. The feelings of people are important, right? And I know for a fact that you want your feelings to be considered. So why not consider the feelings of every other person around you? So that's the idea right there. So number 9, we looked at listen to the opinions of people. And then we made a case for the fact that for someone to have an opinion or a subject on an idea or actually on anything at all, they spend their time and their energy processing that information. That is why they have an opinion. And you not listening to their opinion is them actually having to have wasted their time and energy. People don't like wasting their time and their energy, right? So you must listen to the opinions of people in your human relationship journey. And finally, number 10, be alert to serve. Service is the gateway to greatness. If you really want to be great, you must be ready to serve. Jerome once said, if you want to be very rich and very great, find a way to serve a lot of people. Find a way to serve a lot of people. Right? So thank you very much. We'll be running through the 10 commandments of human relation. Right? So we'll run through this and thank you very much for listening. So we'll just jump right into the next conversation. And in the next conversation we'll be looking at the different myths that exist in the world, right? And I'm going to be disconstructing a lot of things tonight, and I'm hoping you're going to enjoy them, right? I'm going to be touching some very, very sensitive topics, and I'm hoping you actually pick a learning from all we're going to discuss in the next couple of, probably an hour or more, right? So this is what I want you to do, right? Just give me a moment. Let me put this up a little bit more so I don't get to lose my head at any point. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to be looking at the myth of life. So I'm going to be dishing out certain myths and we're going to be disconstructing them. So we're going to be disconstructing some myths that have existed over time. Are we together? Alright, let's do this together. So the first myth we're going to be looking at is the myth of weakness. Yes. A lot of people say, this is my weakness. But in essence, what are they saying? This is something I've decided to keep doing, even if I know it's bad. Yes. When someone says, this is my weakness, no, it's not. No, it's not, sir. You are playing a script. Yes. It's not your weakness, sir. It is just something that you know that you should not do, and you've decided to keep doing it. Yes, it's not your weakness. You are never weak. Okay. So I spoke to this young man who, because of the kind of work I do, because I've been working with teenagers and young adults since 2018, right, continuously and consistently. Every year we set up workshops and seminars for teenagers and young adults, right? We're doing this all this while, and because of the work I do, I have opportunities to speak one-on-one with these young adults and individuals. And I had this particular case with this young man who said he has a weakness. I'm like, okay, so what are we talking about? And then he said he has a weakness. And what's the weakness? He says everything under skirts, he pursues it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Said that whenever he sees any girl at all, he literally wants to jump on her. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Said, okay, so where do you live? Said, oh, he lives, I called the location where he lives. I said, okay, that's fine. Number what exactly? I mentioned it. I said, what kind of family, like, what's your house like? Said, oh, he has a mom, he has 2 sisters, he has a mom. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then he has a brother. I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. I said, okay. And I asked him, he said, your weakness is what again? He said, oh, his weakness is that anything that is under scared, he cannot actually control himself. And I'm like, okay, so what was the last episode you had? Can you just give me a little background gist of the last episode of this weakness? He said, okay, that there's this girl that lives in so street. Now this street is like 2 streets away from his house. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. said, okay, that this was the situation, that this one happened, that one happened. I'm going to bore you with all of it, but I'm going to give you the points now. The thing is this, and because of the work I do, right, I am bound to listen to you. Even when you're spitting foolishness, right, I am bound to listen. My listening to you is my duty, but you will never miss my response. I told him that's fine. I said, okay, that's okay. And then I asked him a question. I said, have you ever chased your mom before because of this your weakness? He said, no. He said, I know your sisters too, and they are very pretty looking sisters. I said, have you ever jumped on your sisters because of this your weakness? He said, no. I'm like, okay. He said, then it is a girl that lives 3 streets away from your house that you can now jump on, and you still say you have weakness. My brother, you are not weak, you are running a script. He said, oh, Mr. Wisdom, how would you say such? Let me explain something to you. A weakness, right, in the real term of a weakness, is something that you cannot control, right? It's out of control. So if you can control yourself when you see your mom, you can control yourself when you see your sisters, then you cannot control yourself when you see someone else's daughter or someone else's sister. Young man, you're running a script. There's nothing you want to tell me. You're running a complete script. As crazy as it is, you don't have any weakness. Okay, let me explain something else. Now, there are certain people who will tell you, oh, I'm tired. Right? So I had this encounter. I was in an uncle's house. So he's actually a very hardworking man. I really applaud him for all the work that he has done and the work he's doing for his family and all. So there was this particular day that some people say tiredness is a weakness. So that's what I'm going to right now. So I might be touching you right now, but it's okay. Just enjoy it, right? So this was the situation. So he actually left the house very early in the morning due to traffic and all of the stress and all. He came back very late at night. I'm talking he left around 4 a.m. and then came back around past 12. They usually have to stay awake for it so he can actually come inside to lock the gate. So he was so tired. He said, Wisdom, I'm so tired. I said, I can see. He said, please help me take off my shoes. He said, well, help me take off my shirt. I helped him. So Wisdom, help me bring my fire bottle. What was left was for him to ask me to help him eat. Slow down. What was left was for him to ask me to help him go to toilet or to go and eat himself. That was how tired he was, and I believed him. That's fine. But there was no problem. Up until there was a shout of Snake-o, Snake-o, Snake-o. Forgive me, but my uncle was the first person to get to the gate. The same uncle that was very tired. Come on. Is he really tired? He wasn't tired. Yes, he was stressed because of his day's job, but he was not weak. Because if he were weak, where did the energy come from that made him outrun all of us and got to the gate? And by the time we caught up with him, he said he was going to call for help. So really, there's actually nothing like weakness. If you are truly weak, it will show. But if you are really not weak, it will also show. Because what you would see is that you're playing out a script. Well scripted by you. And you're playing it out fantastically well. So that is it. There's no weakness. So we'll just trash the myth of weakness. So if there's anything you're struggling with, right, tell yourself the truth and seek for help. That's the solution right there. Right? Number 2 is the myth of temptation. Now, the word temptation comes from the word tempt. Right? And the word tempt simply means to check for weakness. So, as much as you want to refuse temptation, temptation is actually an important aspect of your existence on earth. Because Temptation literally shows areas where you need to work on. Because one of the greatest book on earth, the greatest book that's ever been written that exists on earth today, actually says that if you fail in these days of your adversity, that's in the days of your challenges, your strength is weak. So no matter anybody that made you feel like your strength is plenty, any day you fail, just know that your strength in that area is weak. So what do? You work on it and not consider it to be a what? A weakness. So this is my summation to you. Refuse to refuse temptation. Embrace temptation. Because temptation will reveal what works and what is not working in your life. And basically that's what you need. Because we are not perfect. And in real terms, planet Earth cannot contain perfection. Yes, planet Earth cannot contain perfection. It cannot. It cannot contain perfection. So regardless of where the sun rises and when the sun rises in the morning, and regardless of where the wind is blowing from, listen to this. You must embrace temptation. Because temptation will always show you the areas where you are strong, right? And the areas where you are weak that you need to work on. So if you have ever felt that the face of any temptation, just know that that is an area where you need to start working on. And basically that's the goal. What's the goal? Getting better every single day. That's the goal. That's right, there's the goal. If you're not getting better every single day, you're literally getting worse every single day. You're never on one spot. You're either taking a step further or you're taking a step back. It's no more. See, there's literally no fence anywhere again. There's no line. We've erased the line. When you say, "Oh, I'm sitting on the fence," there's no fence again. You see, I'm standing on the line. There's actually no line. It's either you are here or you are here. There's no line anywhere. In short, if there was any line existing, I have erased that line this night. So we must actually make a conscious, deliberate effort to grow from one level to another, because that's what really counts, right? That's what life is about, getting better on a daily, right? So the idea therefore is to embrace temptation. The idea therefore is for us to what? Embrace temptation. And if there's any part you need to work on, do well to work on it. Temptation is not after you to hurt you, to destroy you. No, temptation is there to make you better. I can prove it. I'll give you two instances from the greatest book once more. Two instances. I'll give you two characters. One is Job. Let me see that so we have that conversation. So there's a man in the Bible called Job, right? And I don't know if you've read this story, or there's actually a whole book with his name on it, and actually everything about him just from the very first chapter all the way to the end. And in the beginning of those chapters, right, in that chapter, in that book, in the beginning of that chapter of the book, or beginning chapter of that book, yes, he actually describes him as the richest man in the East. I don't know what part of East, but the East of where he was living at the time. And considered him to be very upright, lover of God, wise, industrious and all that stuff, which is very fantastic to read about. But this is what now happens. We're now told later on in different chapters that God actually called a meeting of his sons, and guess who showed up? The devil. And I don't know, but I've come to realize in my thoughts and processing all this stuff that really, probably, the main goal for the meeting of the sons was not to meet with the sons. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That the goal of that meeting was to meet with the devil. Because I don't know, but I think God can actually reduce himself enough to call the devil to a meeting. But he knows that if he actually calls the meeting of the sons of God, that young man will show up. And it's the young man we need to speak to. How do I know? Who started the conversation? God. He said, have you seen my servant Job? Yes. And then it was all the what's it called? All the eulogies he was giving to him, upright, faithful, and all that stuff. And the devil goes like, oh, I know him, I know that guy. Yeah, I know him. I know him. You've actually built an edge of protection around about him, so there's nothing I can touch. And God said, okay, you can go ahead and touch him now. Right? Says, you can go ahead and what? You can go ahead and touch him now. But now, he gave him a rule. Says, you can touch anything and everything around him, but don't touch his life. I don't know about you, but I believe that the most important thing in my assignment is my life. And if anything wants to challenge my life, I challenge you with all that I have and all that I am. Right? So if I can actually let go of any other thing, right? When it comes to whatever kind of an attack that attacks any other thing. But if you dare to attack life, right? I don't think I can let it go. I cannot let it slide. You get the point. So understand that life is important to God, because if you have a purpose to fulfill, you can actually fulfill purpose when you are no longer alive. You only fulfill purpose when you are alive. You get the gist now. So your life is important. So he told him, okay, touch every other thing, but don't touch his life. That's very telling, right? It actually shows that your life is important and you should not play with it either. Alright, so the whole discussion progressed, and the devil went ahead to do what he could do, and all he did was to steal, kill, and destroy, which is basically what he knows how to do best. And one interesting thing is that all that they needed was for Job to curse God and die. That is, for Job to deny God and die. But he actually did not do all of that, because basically that's not what he's about, right? Because that's not what he wants to do, because that's not what he's right to do, right? Since basically all that stuff. Now watch this. Towards the end of the chapter, when the whole temptations, everything has happened and all that stuff, it records that Job became, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He became 10 times better than the way he was when the chapter started. What do you know? What do you think I'm thinking? Are we thinking the same thing? I'm literally thinking that temptation was preparing him for his next level. I want that one to sink in. That's what I'm sinking into. That temptation was preparing him for the next level. So if there's any temptation that is coming into your life right now, enjoy it. Because there's always a plan for that, the aftermath of the temptation. Because there's always something better than where you were, which is like the happening that is going to be like what will happen after that temptation has come and gone. So all you have to do is to keep the faith. Basically, that's what Job did. He kept the faith and turned out to be an amazing person. So the midst of temptation is that what we usually get to understand is when you are tempted, it seems like you are tempted so you can be destroyed. No. You are tempted so you can be shown the weakness that you have so that you can work on it. And when you work on it, you become a better person. That is what temptation is about. Do you get it now? Do you get it now? So what have I said in conclusion? What I've said in conclusion is that temptation is not to destroy you. Temptation is not to soil you, neither is it to destroy you or cause you shame or pain. The real goal of temptation is to prepare you for the next level. So whatever temptation you're going through right now, just keep the faith. Keep the faith. It is literal. Whatever temptation you're going through that looks like a setback, right? This is what I'm saying to you. That temptation that looks like a setback is a setup for a comeback. So that's it, people. We've demystified two things. Number one, we've demystified the myth of weakness, where people say I am weak, but in real terms, they are actually just playing a script. The second one we've looked at is the myth of temptation. We've always been told that we should avoid temptation. You get that point? But no, every temptation is not to destroy you. Any temptation that comes into your life, the goal is not to destroy you. The temptation that you've received in your life is to make you a better person. Because temptation, the word temptation comes from the word tempt. And to tempt means to test for weakness. And when the weakness is revealed, don't complain, don't cry. Just go and work on yourself. And usually every temptation is to set you up for the next level. And then we spoke about the Job story from the Bible, right? And this is what I think, right? In conclusion about the Job story, this is what I think. I think Job was ready for the 10 times better stage, but he actually had to be tempted to see if he was capable of holding that much. That's how I see it. You get the point? I think Job was due for 10 times, but he had to be tested to see if he is ready for it. That's why all that he had was taken away to see if it was all that was keeping him faithful. But really, it wasn't all that. It was way beyond all that. And turned out to be 10 times better than the way he started off. So we'll go on a very quick break and we'll be back. So I'm going to see you in the next video. We'll turn off this live feed and we're going to come back again. And we're going to go into more demystifying. So we'll be demystifying a lot of myths and we're going to be up into the next thing. Alright, so this live feed is going to go off and then we're going to start a new one. See you in the next one. Are you the one that sends the